You won't be surprised to learn that we're starting off today with a mention of the first professional team. This is with apologies to all, to go through the season without losing a test since the beginning of professional rugby. Now, if you've got any Irish descent, would you please stand up? Stand up, stand up, good lot of it. Now, it's sort of $10 each because nobody's heart is quite what it should be at the moment, and it's all your fault. Okay, now, who's read Richie McCaw's book, The Open Side? You will have therefore heard of a person called Cherry Evans. You know about Cherry Evans? Well, he's the guy who's been responsible for training the All Blacks minds. And he was employed after the loss, not in the last World Cup, but the one before, because they believe that when the French scored that try in the semi-final, the All Blacks shut down. They just were incapable of focusing on winning. And the result was, of course, that they lost. And he's been working with the All Blacks, and especially with Richie McCaw, and he explains it in his book. That's why I mentioned it in The Open Side. It is really interesting, but Cherry Evans is probably responsible for us recovering in the second half, because he was the one who's got the All Blacks to have their heads right. Richie McCaw played his first game of rugby for the All Blacks in 2001, and I'm pleased to announce that at that time I was president of your club. So there we are, Richie McCaw and I've got something in common. So you can all pay for that. And I've yet to get the psychologists to come in here and work on your minds, but it may happen. Now, last week I was really pleased at the enthusiastic response that you all gave when Patrick McGardle was thanked for the work he does for the club. We are very lucky in this club. We have got at least 150 members, usually 160. And how many people do you think it takes to run a Rotary club? These are people who need to do the work to make it all happen. And the answer is that if you belong in a Rotary club with less than 30 members, you will basically be busy all the time. We are very lucky. We are very fortunate. We actually, on average, only have to work 1 year and 5 to make our Rotary club very successful. And I don't think there's a person in the room who won't think that our Rotary club is very successful, but just remember how lucky we are. We have no recycling of presidents. In fact, we probably have the opposite problem. We've got more high-quality presidential candidates than we can dish the job out to. So if you think you're a presidential candidate sitting at your table, would you please pop a little thing in the little bowl? All right? It may, of course, be yourself, in which case you can do it again. But I've got, apart from Patrick McGardle, there are, of course, many others. In fact, there are dozens of them. But I want to actually just pick on one or two. And because this is my little list of people who have helped. The first one I wanted to mention was Debbie Chin. And Debbie's not here, but I'm quite sure that she would be sitting on the table with Lady Sadianan if she was here. So no doubt they will be called upon to pay shortly. But Debbie Chin helps this club by actually making jams and things and presenting them for us to buy, and all the proceeds go into, I believe it goes into the Sunshine Box. And I've just run out of, I was a little disappointed with the champagne strawberry jam I bought from her, because there was far too much strawberry and not enough champagne. But I'll tell you, she makes the most wonderful ginger marmalade, and I've just run out, so I'm waiting for Debbie to reappear with more goodies, and I'll certainly be in the queue to buy it. So if the people at Lady Satnam's table would just put in a little coin for Debbie Chin. The next person I want to talk about is somebody called Bob Stannard. And Bob, of course, is just there week after week, day after day, and without people like Bob, our club wouldn't be nearly as much fun as it is, and it wouldn't operate so smoothly. So the people at Bob's table are excused because they've got the benefit of his company, but everybody else can please put in a coin for Bob Stannard. And Johnny Johnson is in like capacity. Johnny looks after what's called attendance, all right? And it's really good news for people like Johnny. He's another one. And another one, of course, is John Gibbons, who week after week after week is here working to make sure our meetings run smoothly. Now, there are two other people I want to mention. And the first one is Peter McLaren. Because Peter McLaren's been a member even longer than I have. And he's probably introduced more new members to this club than anybody else. And he does a regular activity every year, looking after his film evening, and it's that sort of thing that keeps the social side of the club going, and also he helps keep the club going. So where's Peter McLaren? So all the lucky people at his table can put some money in for the privilege of And the other thing that was distributed earlier this year under our current president's offices, no doubt, is this list of who does the jobs. This is the allocation of jobs to members. Now, every member has at least one, although I must admit on a couple of them that say excused because they, for some reason, can't do anything. But there's only a couple out of 160. But everybody has one thing. Most people have two, some people have three, half a dozen have four, and one person has 5 jobs. Guess who that is? No, Francis actually only has one. It's Ewan Wright. Is Ewan here? There are, Ewan. You're the busiest man in the club. Did you know that? You're actually the only person with 5 jobs. So Ewan, you are excused and everybody else in the club can pay. Please for that. And the final person I want to mention is Joseph Mora. Because Joseph is by far the best sergeant we've got, and Joseph can entertain you royally without boring anybody, and that's something I have a huge amount of difficulty doing. So just put, please, a little bit more in the pot just to cover the fact that Joseph belongs to our club. Thank you.